Hey y'all, how you doing today? Um, got back out here in the garage again. Got a new part. I'm going to show off, basically show and tell. So that's what this video is going to be. Got let me just go ahead and show you. Okay, yeah, big red and blue box here, Duralast. So you probably have guessed, yeah, it came from AutoZone. However, standard flywheel. Okay, well this warrants a little more investigation, doesn't it? So why don't we get this thing open here and take a look. This is actually going to be for my 360, which is over there on the stand in the plastic bag, and that engine is going to go into this truck, my 92 D150 here. So I have already opened this up and looked at it a little bit, but I thought it's worthy of making a video about it. So, and I also point out some of the detailed differences between the 360 and the other Mopar small blocks. Now, they already have engine side, but they also have USA stamped, or I guess that's imprinted right there. I'll tell you what, let's get a light over here so you can see a little bit better about what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. So, getting ready to recycle my used engine oil. I've got a bunch of containers over there for that, and I need to get this off the truck so I can do that. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a video. So here we go. As you can see, oh, engineered in USA. All right, so that's pretty good. Okay, right off the bat, let me just go ahead and show you right here, right off the bat. Get this thing opened up here so you can see real clearly what I'm talking about. Okay, it looks like there's some sort of part numbers right there. Looks like we've got a couple holes drilled here for weight, and then we've got 3 holes drilled here for weight. That is characteristic of the 360 engine. The 360 Mopar V8 is externally balanced versus the 318s and the 273 and the 340, which is internally balanced. So that is something you need to pay very close attention to when you're swapping parts from one Mopar small block to another. Make sure, that 318 that somebody sold you isn't a 360. Which, if it is, hey, that's not a bad deal, not a bad way to go. Also, here on these bolt holes, there is some differences right there. So if you notice, these 2 holes are closer together than these 2. All right, and it looks like these 3 are all spaced out evenly. That is very characteristic of the Mopar small blocks. So, and as you can see, right here, I have this flex plate. This is for automatic transmissions. As you can see, these 2 holes are closer together, whereas these 3 or these 4 are not. All right, so so far, it looks like everything's, yep, there we go. These bolt holes line up. This is for Mopar small block. Now, this bolt pattern here for the crank is exactly the same. I do apologize. One of my dogs is over there raising hell about something. I apologize about that. But yeah, this bolt pattern is the same for the 273, the 318, the 360, the 340. All of those LA small blocks share the same bolt pattern. And I'm going to go out on a limb and go ahead and say that the Magnum small blocks do the same thing. Okay? I'm pretty sure they do, but, don't hold me to that. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised to see that the A series Mopar V8s, the 318 polys and a lot of those early poly engines, I wouldn't be surprised if they use the same bolt pattern back there. So just something to keep in mind. One thing to be aware of, though, if you have a 360, there is differences between the balancing of the 360 from the LA years, which is like, I think 72 was the first year for the 360, maybe 71. I'm going to say 72 because they didn't really produce much in the way of very high performance muscle car oriented 360s. But except for in some of the Dusters and in some of the Barracudas. Okay, um, some of those cars got a more muscle car oriented 360, but we're not talking really super fire breathing. 72. That was when the muscle cars were on the way out. And that kind of thinking was on the way out. So, uh, but the these here, the muscle car, the 360 from um, 72 to 92 uses pretty much the same flywheel, and you can interchange those. Now this one, as you see, is pretty big, and it has all the ring gear teeth, has everything. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, let you have a look at the other side. But if you're working with a Magnum 360, okay, also too, if you don't know what I'm talking about as far as cubic inch is concerned, 5.9 liter. Okay, not to be confused with the Cummins 5.9. That's an entirely different animal. Okay, not the same animal. 360, 5.9 liter V8 gas. Okay, so LA used one flywheel. The Magnums used a little different one. So, and the balancing between the two is different. You might be able to use them one in place of the other, but I wouldn't want to go through all the trouble of putting in a Magnum flywheel on an LA engine and try to make it work, and then somehow or another it doesn't. I mean, because then you got all that work you had to put the crank, to put all of that together, the transmission in there and everything like that, and then you have to pull it all back out. But recently, I was looking at somebody who had a flywheel for sale used, and he wanted a considerable amount of money for it, and just what I thought was like just kind of ridiculous money. I'm gonna put this camera over here because I'm kind of tired of holding it, really. But yeah, he wanted like ridiculous money for this thing and for this flywheel. And the problem was he wanted like 150 bucks for this. I got this brand new one from AutoZone, and this is, I mean, all I got to do is clean it up, and it's ready to go on. And it was less than $100 out the door. I mean, I walked out the door with like, the total was like $91 and some change. So I think Advance sells them for, I was checking, I think theirs goes for like 120 something. Yeah. Um, then you got, I didn't look at O'Reilly's, but that's just what I'm talking about. I mean, some people, they got stuff priced kind of outrageous, and sometimes it pays to do your shopping around. And I mean, let me also point out too, there's like, several things you need to be looking at when you're looking at a used part. Okay, now as far as like the flywheels are concerned, like this one, you need to be looking at like the surface here. You need to be looking at gouges, grooves, cracks, anything like that. Also, got a little place right there in that one, but that's not a real problem because one, it's not causing any problem with the ring gear teeth. It's not in one of the bolt holes, and it's not on this surface right here for the clutch disc to mate up with that. So that's the big thing. This truck is manual transmission. The truck that this is going to go into, which is mine, my daily driver, it's manual transmission. NP 4500 5-speed manual. I'm not changing that out. It is not for sale. So, but I am going to keep it manual. I'm going to keep that transmission in there behind. It's going to go behind the 360. And I think it's going to work out fantastic. But you need to be aware that, if you're going to buy these used, there's some pitfalls you need to be curious about. I mean, another thing is these holes are threaded for the pressure plate to bolt onto to the flywheel. So when you put these on, you need to make sure, if you buy one of these used, you need to make sure that the threads are in good shape. There's nothing wrong there. Also, the ring gear, those can get damaged when you got a junk starter or something like that. So you got, then also too, these holes can get damaged too by somebody who maybe left this loose or something like that. So these are all little problems you need to be acutely aware of. So I'm going to get something and I'm going to measure those bolt holes, and we're just going to do the measuring tape here to. I mean, yeah, sure, I can get out the mics and all of that, but I mean, come on. We're measuring this here for just to give you all a good idea of what you need to be looking for when you're looking at these. When you're looking at manual transmission flywheels, this is what you need to be looking for a Mopar small block. Now the big blocks, I can't tell you. I think there's similar bolt pattern back here for as far as 6-bolt. Now there was an 8-bolt crank for some of the 340s, but we're talking like a racing application, or we're talking like maybe TA or the X blocks or something like that. So, but those are an exception. You very rarely will ever find one of those, or ever even see one. So, all right, here we go. Let's get this rotated down here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here we go. We got these 2 bolt holes I pointed out earlier. They're close together. So we're looking at 1 3/8. That's center to center. Yeah, I'd say about 1 3/8. All right, now let's go over here just opposite to these 2 bolt holes. And we've got 1, let's see, about 1 5/8. Yeah, 1 5/8. I'm not sure if you can see that really, really well. Let me move this here. Let's just see what I'm. So we got. All right, so we got 1. We got 1 looks like, yeah, 1 5/8, about center to center. And then on the bolt holes that are close together, we are at 1 3/8, center to center. So there you go. All right. And which I will put this here to, this works a lot better if I flip this flywheel back over. So there we go. Flip that back over. Here's our little flex plate for the automatic transmissions. All right. Oh, yeah, there we go. And get a look-see. All right. I'll let you see. I think you can see pretty good right there. But as you can see right there, we've got those bolt holes line up perfectly. So that's what I wanted to get across to you, y'all, is that what we're talking about here. We're talking about these bolt holes lining up and being good and working with making sure that these are the same. Okay. Now, if you go into swap meets, you can remember these measurements, but you can also look them up probably also on Google or what have you. Also, you can just carry one of these around. You know, if you're looking for somebody's got a flywheel, say, hey, let me see that flex plate, because they most likely they'll have some of those for sale too. All right. So anyway, all right. So that's pretty much the end of this show and tell. Nothing else more to show. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back in the box, and I'm probably going to put a little oil on this flywheel and keep it from any sort of rust or anything happening to it. But these were the two main components to swapping a 360 into this truck, was to get the oil pan, which is separate, is different than the other LA oil pans. You know, because it has to be for a truck, and it also has to be for a 360. The 360, that rear opening, um, where it goes, the rear opening back there is bigger. It's shaped different. So, and then of course for the truck, you got to have the rear sump. So not a big deal. You know, I mean, there's plenty of 318s out there with that rear sump, but the 360s are a little bit more rare. So anyway, there we go. Like I said, I'm going to cover that flywheel with some oil and keep it from generating any rust on there or anything like that. And hopefully that it will be okay. And but I've already got the oil pan, and that is one of the other pieces I needed to get. Now next I need to be looking at gaskets and all of that sort of stuff. I've got some gaskets, but there's like still some I don't have. I've got most all my gaskets. I think I still also need a timing set, and I'm going to need cam and lifters and that sort of thing. So those are some other pieces I've got to be looking out for. So I thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, comments, ideas, or what have you, please put them down there below, and I will do my very best to get back to you and talk all about everything I talked about here today. Okay? And so, thank you, and God bless. Okay?